Judicial review means considering, reconsidering the executive, but you must have read in Indian law also, executive actions, administrative actions, and legislative actions. If the third organ, that is the judiciary, examines the validity of the executive actions, administrative actions, or legislative actions, then we are saying that the judiciary is doing the function of judicial review. But here we are not at this stage discussing these two parts. These are the scope of administrative law. We are here discussing the judicial review of legislative actions of legislative bodies. As you are all well aware, the Canadian, as some of you have not joined earlier, Canadian legal system is a federal structure comprising of a federal body that is called Federal Parliament and the provincial legislative assemblies. So the Federal Parliament and the provincial legislatures have the power of legislation in the Canadian legal system. Now, while exercising these powers, there must be some distribution. I think you must understand that legislative power means the power of making the laws. Please mute yourself, please. So, law-making power is called the legislative power. And in the Canadian legal system, two bodies, that is at the Dominion level, Federal Parliament, at the regional level, provincial legislative assemblies, have been given the authority under law by the Constitution to legislate. Now the question is, on what issues the Federal Parliament shall legislate and on what matters the provincial legislature shall legislate. So this is called the distribution of legislative power. Like in India, we have three lists: union list, state list, and concurrent list. Now those three lists describe on what matters the Parliament of India has to legislate and competent to legislate, on what particular matters the state assemblies are competent to legislate, and where those matters where both the Parliament and the state legislatures have the competence to legislate, and the residuary power vests with the Parliament under entry number 96. This is the situation in India. Now in Canada, again they have also made the constitutional provisions for the distribution of legislative powers of both the organs, both the bodies of the legislature. Now, Section 91 and Section 92 of the Constitution Act 1982, where the Federal Parliament has the legislative power, competence to legislate on the matters which are prescribed under Section 91, and the provincial legislatures have the competence to legislate on the matters which are prescribed under Section 92. So there is a clear distribution of power between the Federal Parliament and provincial legislatures in Canada also. Now the question is, in case of a conflict, how the things will be resolved? Suppose a law A is made by the Quebec Legislative Assembly on the issue of insurance. province made law B, that is Ontario, again on the issue of insurance. Now under entry 92(13), they are competent to make the law on insurance. But there are some, I'm not going into detail, I'm just making you to understand how the conflict is to be resolved. Now these two insurance laws are touching the banking law. First, if these two provincial laws are in conflict, then what is the situation? And in case these are in conflict with the federal law, then what is the situation? Now in case of a conflict between the provincial laws, which law shall prevail? This is to be determined by way of judicial review. And if there is a conflict between these two or one provincial law and the federal law, then the law is very clear. It is the federal law which shall prevail. Why? We have read section 52. 52 says supremacy. Supremacy of the Constitution. Constitution of Canada is the supreme law of the land, and any law which contravene the Constitution of Canada is ultra vires, is invalid. Now, any law which is Constitution and any law which is ordinary legislation made by either the federal parliament or by the provincial legislature, if contravenes the Constitution, then those are laws in case of conflict. Which law shall prevail? It is the constitutional law which shall prevail. So now to resolve all these issues, the concept and the judicial review is ingrained in the legal system. And as you are well aware, there are three organs in the state, again repeating it: executive, legislative, and judiciary. So now to examine the issues and the matters, whether the legislature has the competence in view of section 91 and 92 and section 52, whether those laws have been passed by the legislative bodies in consonance with the constitutional mandate or not. This is the duty of the judiciary in the form of a judicial review. Now, in case there is another part, as in our country it is fundamental rights, they have the Charter of Rights. Now first part is there is some technical issue with the camera. Right? Now we have already discussed that the legislative competence is one of the major grounds to challenge the legislation passed by the legislative bodies by way of judicial review. So this is one ground which is available. Second is regarding Charter of Rights. As in India, if the legislation passed by the legislative body, be it the parliament or the state legislative assembly, are not in consonance with the provisions of the constitution, like the list, suppose a state list provides a certain matters which is to be only legislated by the state assembly, the parliament passed the law on that, we can say it is in violation of the union list, so it is in violation of the Constitution of India, and Thus, this law is ultra vires the provisions of the Constitution, and the court may, by way of exercising its power by way of judicial review, struck down that provision. Similarly, in case of Canadian legal system, if the provincial legislative assembly has no authority and competence under section 92 to legislate on a particular matter, and if it legislate on that matter, we can say the provincial legislative assembly has no competence to legislate on that particular matter, and this legislation is subject to judicial review, and if by way of judicial review, the court may struck down that legislation on the ground that it is in contravention to the Constitution, or in other words, we can say it is in contravention to the distribution of power, meaning thereby it is against the federal system. So, this is the first major ground available. Same again in India, if any legislation violates the fundamental rights, it is again considered as unconstitutional and may be struck down by the competent court of law. Similarly, there in Canada there are Charter of Rights, and if any legislation violates the Charter of Rights, then this legislation is also bad in law, ultra vires, and unconstitutional. So we have two major grounds to challenge the legislation. One is competence, or in other words, a violation of distribution of power, and second is the Charter of Rights. So, a legislation passed by the legislative, whenever I am using the word legislative body, it means the federal parliament as well as the provincial legislative bodies. Now, those legislations, if passed by any of the legislative bodies, can be challenged being unconstitutional if it is beyond their competence, means violating the distribution of power, means distribution of power as envisaged under section 91 and 92 of the Constitution Act, or Charter of Rights, or both. Both may be the grounds available. So either of these two or both of the grounds are available to challenge the legislation before the competent court of law, and the court, while exercising the judicial review power, may examine whether this law is within the competence of the legislative body, or it is in violation of the Charter of Rights, or it is both not within the competence as well as in violation of the Charter of Rights. Such a legislation may be struck down by the competent court in Canada as being unconstitutional. Right? Now the further issue which arose, first ground, second ground. What is the priority? While examining the issue of validity of the legislation, two grounds are available as we have discussed. Which ground shall be given the priority? This is again a debated issue. And finally, on the basis of the views of the jurists as well as the precedents, they say yes, the competence, or we can say the violation of distribution of power, has the primacy over the Charter of Rights, while examining the validity of a legislation. The question is why this issue or this ground has been given the primacy over the Charter of Rights. Because distribution of power is a part of the Constitution. Is the Constitution. We can say distribution of power is the part of the federal structure, is part of the Constitution. You may say Charter of Rights is also part of the Constitution. Yes, you are right. But now read section 32. Section 32, if you have the Constitution Act 1982, just read Section 32. Anyone? All right, I'll read that. It says, this charter means Charter of Rights, applies to the Parliament and the Government of Canada in respect of all matters within the authority of Parliament, including all matters relating to the Yukon Territory and Northwest Territories. B, to the legislature and government of each province in respect of all matters within the authority of the legislature of each province. So meaning thereby, by the application of Section 32, it says this charter applies to legislative, executive actions of this government, both at the center and at the provincial level. So meaning thereby, this charter applies. If it applies to a particular body like a government or the legislature, meaning thereby it may not be applicable also in certain circumstances. So who is parent? Parent is to whom this charter applies. And the charter is not the parent. If we compare both, then the charter applies to the executive or the legislative action of the Parliament and the provincials. But it is not applicable in certain circumstances as prescribed under Section 33. Now Section 33 says any statute may be passed by the Parliament where these Charter of Rights have no application. And it is a good law because the Constitution Act Section 33 enables the Parliament to make a law where the Charter of Rights have no application. So here the parent is the distribution of power. And the charter is, that's why, not given the primacy. Like in India, fundamental rights, reasonable restrictions can be imposed, and by reasonable restriction can be imposed by way of a legislation. Similarly, under Section 33 of the Constitution Act 1982, a authority has been given to the Parliament to pass a statute which may curtail their Charter of Rights. Right? So that's why the distribution of power has been given the primacy of Charter of Rights while examining the validity of a legislation. But whether it is practicable, whether this is practicable, the answer is may or may not. Suppose a particular legislation, it is a very cumbersome process for the judiciary to examine the validity of a legislation in view of the distribution of powers. There may be a direct violation of the matters, very right. But if there is an incidental violation like pith and substance issue raised, then it may be a very complicated issue also to determine whether this matter on which the impugned legislation has been passed falls within the domain of the federal parliament or the provincial parliament. So in these circumstances, a modus operandi has been adopted by way of precedents by the judiciary that all right, if both the issues are there, Charter of Rights and legislation is challenged on the basis of, legislation is challenged on the basis of distribution of power as well as Charter of Rights. The court will say if it is in violation of Charter of Rights, all right, it's very easy to examine it, and we may declare if the legislation is unconstitutional, being violative of Charter of Rights, it is unconstitutional and may be struck down also by the court. So the court may prefer this part, But legally speaking, constitutionally examining the issue, then this has the primacy over the Charter of Rights. But practically the courts examine the Charter of Rights violation. If the legislation violates the Charter of Rights, the court may struck down without examining the competence. But if the competence or distribution of power is also the prime ground